Economic activity in Kenya contracted for the second consecutive month in May due to inflationary pressures that resulted in a drop in consumer demand and a reduction in farms' output. The Stanbic PMI reading fell to a new 2022 low of 48.3 in May from 49.5 in April. Input price inflation remained at an 8-year high, which forced farms to scale back on output and employment levels. The higher input prices, coupled with the lower output by farms, resulted in a further increase in output prices. The inflationary pressures, in turn, led to a reduction in domestic demand as clients cut back on spending. Business confidence continued to fall to a new all-time low for the third consecutive month in May, driven by rising inflationary concerns. Hello, my name is Kuria Kamau, and I'm the economist here at Stanbic Bank Kenya, and welcome to the May edition of the Stanbic PMI report. The Stanbic Purchasing Managers Index, or Stanbic PMI as we like to call it, is a monthly indicator of business conditions, and it's carried out by surveying 400 of the largest companies in Kenya and asking about various aspects of the business, including the level of demand they're seeing, the level of output they're producing, their input and output price inflation, as well as the employment levels. With that, we're able to obtain a reading of between 0 to 100, and how you should understand the Stanbic PMI reading is any score above 50 indicates an expansion in business conditions, while a score below 50 indicates a contraction. If we focus on the May PMI report, there are 4 key highlights. First, inflation is currently the biggest determinant of economic activity. Input price inflation remained at an 8-year high, driven by rising fuel prices, higher taxes, input shortages, and exchange rate weakness. The higher input prices, coupled with the lower output by farms, resulted in a further increase in output prices. The increase in output prices, in turn, led to a reduction in domestic demand as clients cut back on spending due to the rising cost of living. Second, while domestic demand was negatively impacted by the inflationary pressures, export demand was resilient. Domestic demand fell for the second consecutive month, driven by a reduction in client spending following the rise in the cost of living. Export demand, meanwhile, accelerated at the fastest rate in the last 3 months. Third, due to the high inflation, firms were forced to scale back on their output and employment levels. Output by farms fell due to the high input prices that affected their ability to produce, and also due to lower demand by customers. As a result of this lower output, farms reduced their employment levels for the first time in the last 3 months. And finally, business confidence fell to a new all-time low for the third consecutive month in May, driven by uncertainty over supply chains, rising inflation, geopolitical tensions, and the upcoming elections. Looking forward to the next PMI reading in June, the key things that could affect economic activity are inflation, the Kenya shilling, and the recent hike in interest rates. While the recent hike in policy rates is expected to alleviate some of the pressure on inflation and on the currency, both factors, coupled with the upcoming elections, are likely to play a key role in determining the strength of economic activity over the coming month. That's it for now. We at Stanbic Bank will continue to support you and your business with market-leading insights, because Kenya is our home. We drive her growth.